Next, comedian and entertainer Al Fike.
Like who, what, when, where, how, and why. Like what? You know? Get the answer and you're happy and you go, oh.
Al went through a divorce that brought great turmoil to his life.
Never use your children as missiles to lob onto the ex-partner to hurt them, because what happens is they explode in the middle of it.
Moving beyond the pain, next.
Thank you so much for joining us on Life Today. I'm Betty Robison, and this is James.
We got a funny guy here,
We
Betty.
do.
Al Fike. Oh, man, he's so funny. He's got a DVD that's got all his comic routines on it. Here are the CDs. It's a bundle pack, a bundle of fun. And he's got a book that is called The Ultimate Self-Help Book, 31 Days in Proverbs. He's a funny guy. He's been, you know, doing comedy, Christian comedy, clean comedy for a long, long time. He's been here before. And I want you to welcome Al Fike back to Life Today. Welcome to you, Al. Glad to see you. You know, my producer and one of our vice presidents over here, Bruce Jacobson, you know, his dad's a well-known medical doctor, retired now, Dr. Jacobson. Well, he's asked that you show us again what a cat does. Last time you showed us a cat's expression.
Well,
you seem to be able to identify.
Yeah, cats are just crazy. They've always fascinated me. They always make this, they never make the ugly face mixed with the sound. It's always a separate event. It's the ugly face, then the noise, and they always go like. It's like, and they don't have elbows, you know, they'll. That kind of stuff.
You're a very observant person. And you use some of the strangest things in your routines. How'd you get into all this?
I like to do versatility in the comedy routines. You know, I mean, it's like comedy/entertainment. And one of a couple of things I do, 3 or 4 actually, I play different instruments that are unique. And usually if there's a person in the audience who's having a very difficult time laughing at the routine, this always gets them. And this instrument I like to play for you is rare. It's really rare, but I have to get the baby powder out here and see if I could break it up here a little bit and see.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, can y'all see that? Can you
a little bit.
Yeah, I like doing this.
I got a grandson that's going to like this program. That's for you, Cody. Yeah. Code man, that's for you up in Tulsa.
Well, I have to get the powder on this instrument here, but it does, I play my hands, and I have these fun little noises here I do with it, and have to get the mic here. Let me see if I can get them in tune, because I shake hands with several people and it knocks them out, so hang on here. Say. There we go, that works. have to turn, you know. Yeah. And I can also do like just different kind of sounds, like the interrogative noises, like who, what, when, where, how, and why. Like what? You know. Get the answer and you're happy and you go, oh. But I tell you what's really fun is on an elevator. The Lord showed me that one time through the music speaker to do this. Anyway, I was sitting, there was several, about 5 or 6 of us on an elevator, 3 or 4 women and a couple of men, you know, and I was in the back, and I was waiting at the doors, got like right about here, and this lady was standing right there, you know, in the doors, and right when they got there, I went. It wasn't very spiritual, but it was a lot of fun, I'm telling you. You know, so, anyway, so let me do a song for you. I want to do a song that I grew up with. All of us have heard it. It's called Jesus Loves Me. And I don't have the tracks because I'm just going to do it acahanda. So, here we go. Ready? Here we go. Say. now get paid.
goodness.
I now get paid for what I used to get a beating for as a kid.
Yeah.
Man, I love America. It's great. But I have another instrumental play. Can I play another one?
Yeah, sure. We'd love to.
I was on here last time.
Play another instrument?
One more.
I mean, this is amazing.
This is a violin bow, but I took violin lessons and I had a hard time sticking with it and learning it. So I decided, well, I need to take up something else. So I actually, from last time I was on, I actually played the saw, and this is a lot of fun. So you have to get in tune also. Something like that's close enough. And I can make it whistle. You know what Pretty Lady is like. Do an ambulance, like. And then a policeman. Then a policeman in England. Anyway, I'd like to just play a song. I have a whole routine. I don't have time to do all of it here on this, but the saw is a fascinating instrument, and I learned how to play by watching a friend of mine named Fred Allen, who was in Zambia when I was a summer missionary over there in 1976, and he pulled out a saw and started playing. I said, I've got to learn how to do that. So I give Fred all the credit for this, but anyway, I would like to play just a song dedicated to our troops who are fighting to protect us, and just a little verse of America the Beautiful. Okay, see.
Golly. Man, I can't play anything well. I mean, I turn the radio on, it gets out of tune. I just think that is absolutely
Well, there's
remarkable.
something fascinating about this saw, and this is something I think hit me several years ago. In order for there to be music, to come from this instrument, this tool, there has to be tension on it. I mean, see, there's you have to hold it. There's got to be pressure. There has to be tension, constant. And you can't hear it now because there's no tension on it. And I just talk about, how sometimes God allows things to happen in our life. He doesn't will it and throw it on us, but he allows things to happen in our life that may be tense, or they have a lot of tension involved with it. And sometimes it gets our attention. But it's through those things and the times that we struggle that God really gets to our heart and causes us to really focus on him and, what he wants for us,
If God got our attention through the tension,
yeah,
he could probably turn it into a beautiful song.
Oh, the music can come.
Songs in the night.
But we have to look for it. And, comedy has always been a real, fun thing in my life. I love doing entertainment. But, when we do our shows, we do a Christian comedy night. We started doing it at the Improv Comedy Club here in Dallas. And, but one of the things we do, we don't just entertain, and I've never just felt comfortable just doing a comedy show and entertaining without having something at the end to say, listen, this is what life is all about. Life is full of difficulty. Life has struggles, and comedy helps us. Laughter does help us. But we have to keep our focus and attention on Jesus Christ. We always point people to him because, it's through him that we have our peace, and it's through him we can find the answers to life. And if we don't have the answers, at least we can have peace in the midst of our search for the answers. So that's kind of been my personal experience,
You've had some of those, I think, what people would call, and many people identify with, you've had some of those moments, occasions, experiences that put a lot of pressure, a lot of tension in your life.
One of the things that took me a long time to talk about this, but it was the fact that I went through a divorce. I was in the ministry, and I was born and raised in a wonderful Christian home, South Mississippi, Leakesville, Mississippi. Parents still living, and just brought us up to go to church. I accepted Christ when I was 9. I went to vacation Bible school. I've built more birdhouses and arts and crafts and all that stuff. I mean, I was in church all my life, And when I was 17, I started reading the Bible. I started reading the book of Proverbs. That's what changed my life. And from that point on, I had I read God's Word. It changed my life. And I went on to William Carey College in Hattiesburg. And then I went on to New Orleans Baptist Seminary for 3 years. Got a Master of Divinity, and I can make candy. That's great. And then I met Vicki, my first wife, and we got married. We traveled together and entertained and spoke and did retreats and so forth. Make a long story short, she just had gone through a lot of difficult times in her life. Father was an alcoholic, and she had kind of taken up some of that, not really knowing what was going on, which led to some other things that caused some problems in our marriage. And it got to a point where it couldn't be saved at all. And so it was very heartbreaking for me and for her, because she was struggling with a lot of things within herself too. And so anyway, long story short, we went through the divorce, and I was single for 5 years, and good came out of it. That's the hard thing. When you go through tough times like this, it's just hard to see how anything. I mean, I was walking around going, can I go this far? Can I go this far? I mean, I was doing little baby steps. I would go to church.
Who did you feel like you were asking that to?
I'm sorry?
Who were you asking that, can I go this far?
Oh, I was praying. I was talking to God. I said, Lord, I mean, how much farther can I go? I mean, I'm hurting so bad. I feel like my heart's been just ripped out. And, but, through all that, he was very real to me. And I just kept seeking.
Did you ever have in that moment, even in a church, say, relationship, which you said I grew up in church.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like in that time that the only person that really could understand you was God, and the only one that could still really accept you was God?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I always felt loved and accepted by him. I felt alone from the standpoint that I didn't know very many other people except a couple who had sort of been through it, so it was really hard to identify or have them identify with me unless they had been through a similar experience. It's the bonding thing that you find in other people. But I got help from some friends like that, and got strength to get through it. A lot of things helped me, but anyway, and then as time went on, I just said, Lord, whatever you want to do with me, just make it happen. I mean, I got to looking for the good in the bad situation.
I think the church is learning now. This is a serious problem.
Oh yeah.
And I think the church is learning better how to reach out to people. I think God showed me something about divorce, Al, that helped me a lot, because, the Bible says God hates divorce. Well, with good reason. There's not a whole lot good about it.
Right.
A lot of devastation. What God showed me about it, though, is that if you could only see it as a terrible wreck, it's a terrible collision. It's a catastrophic
train wreck
collision. And if we could only minister to the people that have been in the collision like we would somebody that had been in a car wreck.
Yeah.
I think it would change a lot of things.
It really would.
There's a lot of accusation and not a whole lot of real administration of love. And I think that must change, and I think you're helping it change.
I'm really trying to do that because, you don't know. But if you've been through it, or you've had a friend who's gone through it, or a loved one, it's just hard to really identify without, having the experience. I don't wish that on anybody. I teach Bible study at the Heights Baptist Church in Richardson every Sunday, and we have a lot of divorced couples in there. And being able to share my experience with them and how I kind of went through some things and got through some things, some of the things that God showed me throughout all that has been able to kind of help him minister to them too. I mean,
what's one of the key things you think divorced people need to hear? Betty, excuse me, you about to ask?
No, I was just going to say, of course, I don't believe that God would cause that pain and that heartache that you would go through. But the key thing is that if all of us go through pain of some kind during our life, but if during that pain we can stop long enough to allow God to speak to our hearts, and to take that pain and turn it around and make something good out of that, a lesson we might learn, or some way that, like you said, ministering to someone else that's gone through the same heartache, then something good has come.
Well, I learned something. I tell you, love is grand, divorce is about $100,000. And it's not cheap. And I would just encourage those who are considering it. This is my advice. Number one, get counseling and stay in counseling. Get a godly counselor and talk to them and share it with them. In fact, now, by the way, I was single for 5 years, and I met Carolyn, who's here tonight, and we got married and have a great relationship. She was 38, single, never been married, and God just put us together. And wow, we've been married 8 years now. It's a beautiful thing. But, one of the things I would say, too, this is so critically important. If you have children, and my kids are up there in the audience, if you have children, the thing that my ex-wife and I really sort of, I'd say, pride ourselves on. By the way, she's doing great. She got remarried, and they're active in church now. She got her life together. It's such a blessing. And she and I get along great. I told you, I think last time I have a husband-in-law. And we're like that. We are. We have a great relationship. But the thing is so important is never use your children as missiles to lob onto the ex-partner to hurt them, because what happens is they explode in the middle of it. And it's just, and one of the things we've, you know, tried not to do was do that, to focus on them, you know, and say, hey, you know, y'all are important to us, and we're not going to do that. And, you know, I know I was going to do this. This is terrible. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm a comedian. But anyway, it's painful, but God's blessed us in spite of it. You know, my kids are wonderful, and
it's because God helped
love
you.
the Lord.
And you wrote the book, The Ultimate Self-Help Book, referring to the 31 chapters in Proverbs. It's in the bookstores. And I think it'd be a great blessing.
And this is devotional. The reason why I wrote that, James, half of it's Proverbs in the New Living Translation. The reason why I wrote it is because there were lessons that I learned to be able to take some things that I learned because of what Proverbs did for me, using God's wisdom, and take it and make some applications and stories and illustrations to kind of enhance a part of that chapter in Proverbs for that day. It's 31 days. We're getting a lot of wonderful feedback on. We're so grateful to God for it. If
somebody wanted to get some of the, not only the book, but on your website, which your book's in the bookstores.
Sure.
But could they get the humor and entertainment?
Yes,
and all
they
this,
can. They just go
lessons and how to play the saw.
Just go.
What's your website?
Alfike.com, ALFIKE.com, and they can go and get them there. And like I say, and I just the main thing is I want it to be a blessing to people. You know, it's not something I'm just trying to sell. You know, I mean, I really want it to help people, especially the book.
I think you are. Like don't you think, Al, what he's sharing, his openness and willing to talk about his own journey is a great blessing, and I know it is. Let me just say that the telephone number, and there, by the way, is Al's website if you want to communicate with him, but the telephone number there is a prayer line paid for by love. And if you would like to call right now and say, look, I'm going through some real challenges, I want somebody to at least pray with me and focus on the situation right now, please don't hesitate to call, because you will find someone caring. A lot of times our prayer partners have experienced some of the same conflict and some of the same challenges that you have. These are very real people. This is not only reality television. You're going to pray with somebody that's not some pro, but a caring person. Don't hesitate to call if you need someone to pray with you. I appreciate Al Fike being here. I want to just put his email address up again and encourage you to get all this comedy. It's good stuff, and his book on Proverbs. Don't you appreciate this talented, gifted person who's handled tension and turned it into a song?
Right, man.
Thank you, Al Fike. Thank you for letting us come into your home. Thanks for helping us share water.